So I guess like did you study anything else or anybody else in your lab study anything with handwriting? Like
It was,
any benefits there?
This is a good
yeah,
segue
so,
because look, I'm gonna show you. Look, I'm almost 30, and
okay.
we got this handwriting book because mine is garbage. Okay, I write stuff and I can't even read it, and it's mine.
I told him he's a
What?
doctor. That's what he's supposed to do.
Like, it's horrendous. My boss is an MD, and his is easier to read than mine. I can read his better than my own handwriting.
Wow, I would love to put you in the scanner and figure out what's going on. That's
No, you
really
wouldn't. You'd be like,
interesting.
you'd take me out, and I'd be handcuffed immediately. All right.
This person's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So we didn't look specifically at like quality of handwriting, I guess, which I do have a side
Not
note.
like cursive or anything.
So what we have found, or I guess Karen James in the lab at IU, what she found was really that handwriting's crucial for brain development in children, not necessarily cursive, just handwriting in general, because there's this there's this like visual motor activity that goes on, especially for children, but I'm sure that applies to adults. Like I don't know what would happen if we just stopped writing, but I'm sure a lot of people have. Basically, and this is more developmental, so it might not be as much up your alley, but I think this is super cool. So when you're writing, every time you write an A, it's going to look different, right?
Oh, yeah.
Variability, especially in children, leads to better categorization. So what they found is, say you showed the same picture of a duck, for example, or you could say a tree, whatever you want, just an object, the same picture 100 times. Say you showed 100 different pictures of a duck.
Yeah.
The person that saw the variability is more likely to accurately categorize than the person, even if they see that same, the 101th duck, they're less likely to accurately categorize that. And we don't fully understand it, but it's basically just saying that variability leads to better categorization, better learning processes, better reading processes. And so for handwriting, it's really important to have that because it's just key for children, really.
Hold up. They saw a duck 100 times and they don't know it's a duck.
Well, it makes sense. It makes sense.
That's a little extreme, but you know what I mean.
So this goes back to like what I do.
Your flashcards ain't shit, Austin.
No, like this goes back to what I do every day. It's so machine learning and data science, like to teach a computer, you show it so many variations of a duck or the letter A, and the better it improves. But if you show it the exact same thing, it only has one thing to go off of and one thing to compare that to, which is really cool. Yeah. So I guess like my question is like, how does that benefit us? So if I journal every day, or if I write everything in a notebook rather than typing it on a computer, because a computer would just show it being the exact same thing. So there's no inherent benefit to do your to-do list on a computer or to journal or your thoughts or feelings on a computer. So I guess what is the benefit of us writing in a journal every day or every once in a while?
So I think when it comes to categorization and learning, that's less of a factor for adults. But what's still important and still applicable is this visual motor component. Okay. So when you're writing, your motor function is being paired with your visual system because you're seeing yourself write the words that you expect to come out from the motion you're creating. Okay. And so the benefit in handwriting in general is honestly just better memory because it really, the variability doesn't come into play, but I have as adults, but as children, it does for learning. But
so I want to just say flashcards, Sean. That's why it works because I wrote it on a flashcard.
Well, yeah. So basically, like, and I even feel like
For
I
those of you only
noticed
listening in, I
this.
flipped you off.
I even feel like I notice it. I mean, as much technology as I have now, I will always put my to-do list on paper.
Me
For
too.
some reason, it just does not feel the same. And I think that really comes from this visual motor component in our brain. And it really is important, and it leads to better memory. It helps. And I think that's kind of interesting, where handwriting for adults and handwriting for children has different benefits, but I find it fascinating that still, even as adults, handwriting is beneficial.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I guess like when we think about the future and more kids are going to like computers and typing, do you worry about kids in the future and learning and categorizing things properly, or is
Yeah.
that
So, right. I mean, what Karen James had always said is like it has such a core development for children, and not just the fact that they can write their letters, but it leads to all these things that I'm talking about. And I think that that's something that's just purely missing when it comes to technology. I mean, I don't think there's something that can replace it. They've done studies before on like different effects tablets might have, and they didn't find that decrease like the categorization ability, like writing on tablets, but it's still this physical act that you're doing. And that's just irreplaceable when it comes to the comparison between typing and I obviously typing super important. Like you wouldn't want to say, oh no typing till you're in high school or something. But I think what's crazy is there's been like state legislations that try to, I mean, eliminate cursive, which we haven't found any. We don't study cursive in Karen's lab, but just eliminate the curriculum for handwriting practices. So I think they tried to do it where it was only like kindergarten and first graders they taught handwriting, and then the rest was, I mean, just different resources. Like, and that's the thing too, some schools have a computer for every kid while some schools don't.
Oh yeah.
And so that leads to a difference as well. But I think regardless, it's super important to hang on to handwriting. Just the fact that, and I really find the whole categorization thing interesting. Like it's super cool to me because you think of all the things we need to categorize and all the different properties that make up even a letter. I mean, especially a tree or a duck, but even a letter.
Yeah.
And being able to make those distinctions and kind of, I almost feel like it's a restructuring of the brain in a sense, where when it comes to how we think of things, because we can't hold a memory for every single individual item. Categorization is necessary for us to be able to like learn and understand things, place things in boxes in a certain sense.